If language is at the centre of this game, then I want to take a look at the teacher of language, Wrinkly Kong. Her classroom is filled with books, surrounded by letters and numbers. First, I'd like to focus on the book she's reading herself, which, when flipped around, is seen to be a dig at Earthworm Jim, or an in-joke which is repeatedly made in this game. Here it's shown as a direct comparison between the Kongs, who are the best, and the worm, who is the worst. However, a worm is an old word for dragon, so it could be read as a dig at the Kremlings themselves, the reptiles. The sums on the blackboard are wrong. If you treat them as actual sums, they all add up to 666, the number of the beast, or of the worm. Multiplying and then adding up the results makes 9, a mirrored 6. The wrong results also multiply up to 9. But this is the promo image. The blackboard, as seen inside the game, reads exam instead and has a different set of numbers on it. These multiply up to 9, both the incorrect answers on the board and the right answers. There is an inversion of the principle of the worm going on in Wrinkly's classroom. The whole place shouts out duality. There is a blue and red plane, blue and red stripes covering the alphabet, and a black and white tiled floor. Two worlds united by a purple liquid, reminiscent of crocodile core. In fact, in the core, there is also what looks like language or a kind of script written across the staircase leading up to the energy beam. The letters on Wrinkly's classroom only start from R, which makes them 9 letters. The letter R, furthermore, is the 18th letter of the alphabet, a figure which also adds up to 9. There are a variety of other details around the classroom. Wrinkly's class seems to be teaching us about the union of opposites, yin and yang, about cosmic balance. In Donkey Kong Country 3, she takes the role of a priestess, so a spiritual teacher. In both cases, she is teaching and guiding us towards wholeness, which ends in liberation. Diddy's liberation from the shell. However, it is Dixie who guides Diddy towards the ocean so that he can remember the past. Dixie and Wrinkly are both acting as the guiding figure, teaching us about the union that exists behind our language. If, then, the game is leading us towards the past, a strange revelation takes place. Since Donkey Kong Country 3 is in the past and comes before the other games, it can be read as the first in the series. This is made clear by the abundance of birth symbolism. Kiddy Kong appearing, Blue Bear's birthday, the banana birds being symbolically born from their crystal shells. Donkey Kong Country 3 is a story of birth, and therefore the origin story for the series. Now, if that were the case, then Dixie, who spends all her time looking after Kiddy, could be interpreted as being his mother. Furthermore, if Kiddy is born in the third game, then he must have grown up a little bit in the second, and be a full adult in Donkey Kong Country, since that would be the last entry in the timeline, therefore the present. The only other Kong with this little twirl of hair on his head is Donkey Kong. This leads me to speculate whether Kiddy Kong is actually Donkey Kong when he was a baby, and whether, therefore, Dixie is his mother. In other words, the union between Dixie and Wrinkly is quite literal. Dixie is a younger version of Wrinkly, or a memory of Wrinkly's own youth. Diddy, then, would be Donkey's father, which might give a slightly metaphorical edge to the events in Donkey Kong Country 2. He isn't just rescuing the father, he's rescuing the father figure, the father image. This might shed light on why Wrinkly and Dixie only appear in the last 2 games. They are memories. They were young, gave birth to life, and then died. Wrinkly abandons her cave, filled with banana birds, and becomes a ghost. It is fitting that Donkey Kong Country begins with a banana cave becoming empty, the initial trauma of the mother's death, which sets the process in motion. But we might be forgetting the other side of the picture here. The series is not literally travelling back to the past. It's remembering the past. This process is more spiritual than physical, and this gives more weight to the fact that Donkey Kong Country represents the present, the place from where all remembering begins in its journey backwards. Everything seems to be okay on the surface. However, by exploring it deeper, Diddy discovers he is not free. He is in prison and there's evil all around him. But then, one final step reveals that behind the prison is a paradise. Fundamentally, Dixie and Diddy are free. The first prison is imperceptible. Something is wrong, one feels beaten up, but it's not clear why. The second prison is obvious, out in the open, the veil has fallen. But in the third one, an ultimate veil falls down. The prison is revealed to be a children's playpen for learning language. The absolute endpoint of the series is K. Rool reverting back into an egg like a movie playing backwards towards birth, a memory now visible to us all. It is precisely this act of seeing it with one's eyes, of remembering and being conscious of K. Rool's birth, of the birth of the dragon within us, which dispels its shadowy influence on the present moment.